And here we are. Welcome to Fowl Territory 318. I am your host, Gizzard Gary, and it is Monday, July the 7th. So we're halfway through the year, a little over halfway through the year. So yeah, welcome one and all to the show. Uh, I see something out there that's already got me tickled. So let's go ahead and see who's out here. This should be fun. Gun websites is first one in. We have Alaska One Andy. We have Hillbilly Up out there, and in here we got TJ Fishing all the way from down under. Ron 2A Matters, Fluffy 10 millimeter Jeep guy, and Weston is here. Also Dale Pogue, and here's one. Kiss My Ass YouTube. Wow, that'd probably get me taken down right there, but I'm just reading what's on the screen. So, anyway, he's out there. Mr. Bob Dobalina is in the audience. And J Delta 22NC. We also have C4 Defense. Sarge is out there. Let's see. Getting a lot of repeats. Denny's Plant-Based Journey says, just came in from running the edger and mower. I'm pooped. You better make this good, Gizzard Gary. LOL. Howdy, folks. Well, howdy to you. All right, we got Ozzy Orsborn barking out there. We have Justin Grimm. All right, so we've already got a good-sized group out there in the audience, so welcome one and all. So let's go ahead and show you my panel this evening. The two besides me that we have tonight is Rich, not able to make it because he's sleepy, he said. So let's say hello to my neighbor in the Show Me State. And he, of course, is the host of the Guns, Beer, and Therapy Saturday Night podcast. Say hello to Hillbilly Up.
Hey, everybody. I hope everybody's having a good Monday evening.
It's hard to be down when you've got Hillbilly Up. You know what I'm saying? All right. Well, thank you for being here. And then we've got a guy whose avatar says Blind Guy Photography, but his name says he's Guns and Barbecues. So he's one or the other. So let's say hello to him.
Yo.
Yo, indeed. Well, what's going on, fellers? It's a beautiful 2A Monday, start of a new week.
Mm-hmm. Oh, man.
Yep.
Talkative bunch, aren't you? This is going to be a short show. I can see that already. Hillbilly and I already discussed that and said you could be talking about our height or the length of the show, either one. So I do have some topics we could talk about, though. Maybe that'll get us going a little bit here. But anyway. So there is a giveaway. Later on in the program, you'll see the ticker is running down at the bottom of the screen, and the hashtag is #FT318 if you want to enter tonight's giveaway. And that includes a cleaner and lubricant combo kit from the good folks at Aegis Gun Care, the leader in performance and protection. That's right. That's who they are. Based in Idaho. You know it's good if it comes from the potato state. So
Idaho?
I don't think they make it out of potatoes, but they could. Fluffy says, tomorrow's my last day of vacation. Back to work on Wednesday.
Oh, man.
Well, now what are you doing tomorrow? I'm confused. Tomorrow's the last day of my vacation. I got it.
Yeah.
I got it. Jeez. Anyway. All right. Well, we're already 5 minutes in. I've already screwed up, so you know you're watching Fowl Territory. So you know you're on the right show. But we've got 21 people out there in the audience. We've got 19 on the YouTubes and 2 over on the X. All right, so we are multicasting on X.com and Facebook. So hello to all the people out there on those other platforms. And so anyway, I guess I should go ahead and open up one of the things I want to talk about. And the question is, which one do I want to talk about first? Oh, let's just start from the top. This one could be fun. All right, so let's go ahead. I can find the right place here. I need to get this comment off the screen. So, all right, this is, as usual, an article from BearingArms.com. Came out today, is written by Tom Knighton, and it says K-12 school shooting database makes ghoulish comparing Texas flooding with Uvalde. Calamity Jean is out there, by the way. Hello. The article says, I've long called anti-gunners ghoulish with their incessant need to try and turn every mass murder involving a firearm into an opportunity to push gun control. They use the bodies of the slain as a soapbox to push for policies they want, even if it's obvious that there's nothing they're pushing that would have stopped the incident in question. Smoking Joe is out there. Hello. But as bad as those are, they're still within the wheelhouse of what they claim they want to accomplish. It's still ghoulish, but it's at least something that deals with the topic they've dedicated themselves to. What about when there's some other awful tragedy, one that doesn't involve guns? Most gun control groups tend to leave politics out of it. They might offer condolences or whatever, but they don't try to turn it political. Gerald Muir is out there, by the way. The K-12 school shooting database, which is a particular brand of awful as it is, decided to see how low it could stoop over the weekend. After all, there was flash flooding in Texas that left massive devastation and a huge loss of life, so why not try to make it about gun control? And the post that they have on the screen is by the K-12 school shooting database, and it reads, 21 students and teachers were murdered in Uvalde because Texas doesn't have a red flag law or fund preventions of mass shootings. 21 children drowned at Camp Mystic, 11 girls and 1 counselor still missing because they didn't get a flood warning. Same story, different plot. Wow. Okay. And the article goes on to say, of course, as the community note points out, there was a warning. It's just that no one expected it to be this bad or get there that quickly. So right there, the entire thing completely collapses. However, the ghoulishness doesn't stop there, because the killer in Uvalde, for all we know about him, wouldn't necessarily have been someone who would have had a red flag order issued against him should the state have had a law. As we've seen elsewhere, a lot of people don't realize the person they know would do something like that until after it happens. But that's really just a small bit of the overall issue here, because who in the hell actually posts something like this and thinks it's a good idea? Who types this and hits post and thinks this is a banger and doesn't see how absolutely disgusting it is? As bad as gun control organizations are with their ghoulishness, I can at least see the argument. I can understand why they think they need to jump in and push their agenda before the bodies are even cool. I don't like it, but I get it. This, though? This is something else. This is nothing but a disgusting misrepresentation of everything across the board. All to leverage people who died and are missing to push an agenda that had nothing at all to do with what happened. This isn't just gross, it's evil. I knew these people were low. I'm used to how this database uses anything and everything they can concoct to try and make it look like school shootings are so much more common than they really are, at least as most people think of them. But this is a new low. This is a low deep enough to make the Marianas Trench look like Mount Everest. And the worst part, no one on their side of the aisle will call them on it. I suspect some are upset they didn't think of it. Wow. All right, so comments on that, guys. What do you think of that? Anybody? Do I have a comment?
Honestly, am I surprised by any of it? No. What was it? Feinstein, however the hell you want to say her name. Was she not the one who said never let a tragedy go to waste? Yeah, they're just sticking to the game plan. Never let a tragedy go to waste. The one thing that stuck out to me here, and this is something that I've been planning to make a video on, and still do plan on making a video on, because it's something that's stuck in my craw for a long while, and it's something that I actually had a conversation with my kids not too long ago about. And it wasn't actually about 2A or firearms or anything. It was about something else, but it was same premise. And I actually then brought it to 2A and stuff. And it's this idea that we keep using the term shooting. We're allowing this narrative to be said over and over: shooting, shooting, shooting. No, it's a fucking killing. Sorry, Gary. Like, this one really irks me. I realized I said bad word. I might say a few more, but it irks me.
I'll allow it,
because shooting is what you, me, Hillbilly, so many people out there listening right now do when we go to the range, when we're out hunting, doing many other lawful things. When these people are at a school or shopping mall or anything else, they're not an active shooter or anything else. They're an active killer, period. And by just saying shooter, you're putting the onus on the firearm and not the person. And every time we have a friggin' article posted like this in a 2A sphere, every time that we say shooter in a 2A sphere, all we're doing is fucking reinforcing that and putting the onus on the firearm and not the person. If we want to make an effective change, we need to start saying killer and not shooter.
Yep.
you got a point. I think you got a good point on that. Hillbilly, you want to add to that? Or murderer, Denny says. That's not bad either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, you're right about that barbecue. It's they use this stuff, any chance they get, and and I understand. I mean, left side of the aisles had a bad at least a couple of weeks, because so much has been going on, and the first thing that I can think of, and I heard a lot of reports, this and that. And I'll tell you one thing, I never heard CNN or any of those. And maybe, I'm sure there probably was, but like I just missed it. During all the scrapping and complaining, I didn't, hear them say anything about prayers to the family that was, in this floods and, and all this and everything. It's basically a talking point. And I mean, they've gone as far to say, because Trump, pulled out a climate change deal, that this is what's, this causes flood. I mean,
I don't think that came from CNN, though, did it?
You give money to climate change, and then the climate god is good to you or something. I mean, I don't understand what they're thinking. Is this?
I did see some allegations that Trump cut some money from the National Weather Service budget, and that was responsible for this. I don't know.
Yeah, but then when they looked at all the facts, all the warnings went out, and there wasn't any shortage of employees or nothing in the area or whatever. Actually, they said one of them had staff coming in just to help. They were actually overstaffed, and because of the storm warnings and this and that, man. So
now Denny said, nope, the warnings all went out and they actually brought in extra staff. So yeah.
I mean, it'll be on paper at these places. I mean, I think it would be very easy for them to prove. And where did these leftists, where'd they get their information? They just made it up, I assume.
Even with that, though, to compare that to Uvalde, I mean, that isn't even within the realms of decency, in my opinion.
100%. Yeah.
That's crazy. So, Ozzy says any cuts that may have been done wouldn't have been in effect yet. That's probably all true, too. Yeah, that stuff doesn't happen.
Not till the first year or whatever.
Yeah. Okay, let's look at another article real quick. I don't know if we have any Ohioans out there at all, but we're going to look at an article again by Tom Knighton. Paper looks at whether Ohioans can carry guns at work. Okay. Anytime a news publication starts looking at what people can and can't do with guns, I cringe. Milwaukee seems to be the only large city that has a reporter who looks at guns with any degree of neutrality, though the New York Times has one that might be leaning that way. If only he were the only one for the Times who talked about guns. Most of the time I dig in and get ready to fight over it. But the Columbus Dispatch decided to look at what the state says about guns at work, and I'm not angry. Okay, so let's read this article real quick. As of 2022, Ohio is a constitutional carry state, meaning people 21 and older who can legally own guns can also carry them either openly or concealed. But can your workplace keep you from bringing it into the office? Many private businesses chose to forbid guns from their premises, but Ohio law limits how far they can go. Can your employer prevent you from bringing your gun to work in Ohio? Ohio has no law requiring employers to allow guns on the job. Ohio allows private businesses the authority to ban guns from their premises, and that extends to employees. That means your employer is within their rights to tell you not to bring your gun into the office. Can I leave my gun in my car in a work parking lot? Ohio does limit employers' abilities to ban their employees from storing firearms and ammunition in locked vehicles on company property. Several states, including Arkansas, Georgia, Indiana, Minnesota, and Mississippi, have similar laws. Okay, so that's from the newspaper. Now, the article goes on to say, strangely, they also felt like they needed to address law enforcement officers who are required to be armed. However, they also note that businesses can't require cops to be disarmed while on duty in order to enter the premises, so there's that. They also note the requirements in the state for lawfully leaving a gun in your vehicle, which is nice. All in all, it's actually a solid breakdown of state law, at least as I understand it. Now, should employers be able to tell you that you can't carry a gun while on the clock? I don't think they should do so. But if they can tell me I have to have my hair cut or what kind of clothes I have to wear on the job, there's no reason they shouldn't be allowed to tell me to leave the gun in the car. Again, I don't have to like it, and if I dislike it enough, I don't have to take their coin. I can simply find somewhere else to work that has rules more to my liking. That's not a position that some of you are going to like, I'm sure, which is fine. I don't particularly like that they do it after all. I just don't want the state telling me what I can and can't do with my own businesses, so I don't want to enforce that on anyone else, especially since companies can also keep employees from talking about particular topics like politics while on the clock. As for the original piece, I was kind of shocked that it was so direct and to the point, all without any serious signs of bias. Now, if only we could find a lot more examples like this. Okay, any thoughts on that article? I think what the paper said is pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
But it's not normal for a newspaper to be that honest. I think that's his point.
Yeah, and I mean, in my opinion, if, business owners, if they own their business and, they might have a hair code or a dress code or whatever, that's their right. And they're not discriminating against you. That's just their qualities to have that job. And if that job, if it's not being able to carry inside the business that they're either own or paying rent on or whatever, I mean, I think as a person, I respect that. I don't I wish people wouldn't do that, but it is, free country, and I believe that they would have that right. Same as I believe that if somebody that makes cakes don't want to make a cake for somebody because of their, they don't, or I mean, where I'm going with this, then that's that bakery's, right
Well,
to do
I don't
that.
like that business have sign on their door that says no guns allowed. But you know what I do with those signs? I just don't go in such places.
Exactly. Yeah.
I
Then
just
they don't get
ignore 'em
my
going
business.
in.
So
I just ignore them and go in anyways because
well, I have to, but that's beside
Pennsylvania doesn't consider it to be weight of law. So I just get to go, whatever. It's a suggestion.
the-
And
Ask
then,
me to leave.
then if for some reason they ask me to leave, then fine, whatever. I'll leave.
Yeah, and leave your full cart right in the middle of the aisle when you do.
Yep.
Then he says, in Texas, any business owner can restrict employee and customer carry. I can't carry in the oil field. You can't carry in places that make more than 51% of their income from alcohol. That's true here, too.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is in Pennsylvania. Honestly, though, I don't care. If I go to a bar, I still open carry. Hell, I was granted, this wasn't a bar or anything, but several years ago, actually, it was the gun raffle for the local FOP, where I won the Mossberg Shockwave, and I'm open carrying there, having a good time. I actually had a couple beers there because I was like, fuck it, And my buddy's like, that's illegal. I was like, no, it's not. I was like, and pretty sure if it is, we've got about 100 police officers here that will, be more than obliged to let me know.
Well, I think though when it comes to alcohol, like you can't be under the influence and have a firearm though. And
Says who?
I know you can't in Missouri. Like if I've been drinking, I don't carry.
So you give up your right to self-defense if you've been drinking?
Yeah, because it's a law here.
So what if you're at home and somebody's breaking in and you decided to have some drinks that night?
I'm talking about out in public. And if I've had some drinks at night and somebody breaking in or whatever, then that's a consequence. That's something I'll have to face in court,
Then he says, zero tolerance in Texas. 1 drop of alcohol and you will go to jail if carrying.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I mean, I've seen a lot of bar fights in my lifetime, and I'm glad that they weren't gun fights.
Well, the thing is, if they've been drinking too much, you're not going to be able to shoot straight.
Well, here's the other thing, though. The idea that because you have consumed a little bit of alcohol and you have a gun on you, now you're just going to become incredibly irresponsible with your firearm. That's fucking ludicrous. Again, sorry, but these are such ridiculous arguments.
Well,
I mean,
they had the same law if you've been drinking a little alcohol and you're driving a vehicle. And
no. Say, who was that? Denny? You said, zero tolerance. One drop of alcohol in Texas, and you have a firearm, they're going to nail you to the wall. It's not 1 drop of alcohol nationwide. You can blow a .08.
Now
that's not 1 drop.
Yeah. Now I would say, if you're, I don't know exact laws here in Missouri. If you can pass a breathalyzer or whatever, just say you have 1 beer, you'll probably be okay. But, I don't know all the law to the point here. I just know that, if I'm gonna be drinking 2, 3, 4 beers, I'm not carrying. And seltzer don't count, Dale.
Want to say hello to Blitz, also to Live Moo, also Abigail Finnegan is out there, and Abby says a warrior fights best with mead in her belly. There you go.
Go ahead, Gary.
Moo's still up north in Dad's cabin. Denny
Nice.
says it's primarily because first thing that goes when drinking, motor skills. It's not about shooting the wrong people.
It doesn't matter if your motor skills go, because if you're saying, oh well, your motor skills go. What does it matter if you have your firearm on you or not? If you are still capable enough to go, oh yeah, I shouldn't draw this. What does it matter if you have the firearm or not?
We have a super chat, folks. We have a $4.99 super chat from Justin Grimm. And he says he is checking the weekly status of the Gizzard Gary Emergency Alert Godzilla chicken system. Wow. Well, first we've got to do the obligatory buzzer. And then we've got to throw in the obligatory chicken. And then he wants a Godzilla. Oh, let's see if I can find a Godzilla. Which one of you is Godzilla? Probably this one.
Just like the strobe light warning, you didn't give the Airbud warning.
So, thanks to Justin Grimm for that. I certainly do appreciate it.
This goes right along with one of my other pet peeves of, carry responsibly. Why are we telling people to carry responsibly? Like, we tell people to drink responsibly because when they're drinking, they become impaired because of intoxication. When they're carrying a firearm, they don't become impaired. This idea that we've got to say, okay, responsibly, like that somehow changes who they are. Don't get me wrong. Some people get a certain attitude about them, like they're invincible. Like there are those people, but saying carry responsibly to them does not change that.
Well,
real quick, Denny says he's on his way out. He's got customer audits all week, and I need to get to work extra early. Have a great week. You too. Thanks for jumping in here. Yeah. Fluffy says most of the signs say I can't carry a Glock or Beretta, so it's okay. I don't carry either, so I'm good to go. Exactly. Well,
good evening, Denny. Get there early and change some books or whatever you need to do, buddy. For those audits.
He says, drink responsibly equals don't spill it. Same with carrying responsibly. Use a good holster and don't lose your gun. Good words of advice right there. Hold on to that dang thing. That's the only kind of gun control I want to hear about is, get your hands on that thing and hold on. There you go. That's good.
Yeah, don't be scratching your head with the barrel of the gun or stuff like that.
Justin says, have you seen some of the holsters or lack of holsters some use? Yeah. I've seen some pretty sketchy holsters out there in my time. Calamity says, wow, who knew that Oscar would go airborne from my lap that fast?
Nice. Scared of.
You can blame Justin Grimm for that.
Poor Oscar, man. That cat just is terrified of live shows.
Well, when you get a buzzer, then you get a rubber chicken, and then you get a rooster on top of that. Yeah, that's a lot of noise. That'll do it for sure. All right.
But yeah, so like
go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like I was saying, for Pennsylvania, if they've got the 51% law or anything like that, like I said, I don't care. I will frequent plenty of establishments that I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't frequent bars. If I'm going into a bar, it's because it's wing night or something. And somebody was like, "You want to go get wings?" I'm like, "Frick yeah, let's go get some wings." And when I go, I'll be open carrying like I always do. And if somebody were to, call the cops and be like, "Oh, there's a guy here with a firearm and blah, blah, blah," and they were to show up and be like, "Hey, under this statute, that breaks this law and we're taking you in." All right, cool. Was I doing anything wrong? Was I having an alcoholic beverage? Awesome. Because calling my attorney, we're going to have fun with this one. Not saying that those officers would have done anything wrong at that point, but we're going to effectuate some change.
Agorizer says, I'd say part of carrying responsibly would be not getting drunk at the same time.
Who said you got to get drunk to have an alcoholic beverage?
That's true. Abby says, I fight better when I drink. William Hall says, I just drink at home, so no worries for me. That's true. Two Live Me says, I drink way better than I fight. Wow.
And I think having an alcoholic beverage while you're carrying would then fall under drinking responsibly.
Can you have a gummy? I don't know.
I don't see why not.
States marijuana is legal. Can you smoke a joint? You can't buy one if you're a habitual user of marijuana.
Yeah, with Moo, he has to take breathalyzer, see if he can still carry a match or a lighter around.
Well, that's true too. Our attacking daughters is out there. 223 DMR says, cluck around and find out. That's one way to do it.
There you go.
Okay, so real quick, we got another one. Yes, we do. We have another one. We're going to talk about Democrats. Why not?
Say it isn't so.
This is by Kim Edwards this morning, and he says Democrat politicians claim their base wants blood. Two Like Me says my tent got flooded last night. Oh, you need to wear Depends when you go to bed. Won't happen.
I was thinking the same thing. You open the door and go outside for you pee in the middle of the night.
There you go. Okay, Trump derangement syndrome is real, and based on a new report from Axios, it's an epidemic on the left. The news site spoke to a number of House Democrats who say their contact with constituents has gone off the rails in recent months after the Trump administration has ramped up deportations of illegal immigrants. We've already seen some Democrats engage in political theater by getting arrested at ICE facilities. But according to Democrats on Capitol Hill, their base wants more. In fact, they want blood. Okay, and I'm quoting here, the grassroots wants more. Some of them have suggested what we really need to do is be willing to get shot when visiting ICE facilities or federal agencies, a third House Democrat told Axios. Our own base is telling us that what we're doing is not good enough, that there needs to be blood to grab the attention of the press and the public, the lawmaker said. A fourth House Democrat said constituents have told them civility isn't working and to prepare for violence to fight to protect our democracy. A fifth House Democrat told Axios that people online have sent me crazy shit, told me to storm the White House and stuff like that, though they added that there's always people on the internet saying crazy stuff. And the article says there sure are, but it's also undeniable that a large portion of the left has become utterly unhinged since Donald Trump defeated Joe Biden in the 2024 elections, and they've only gotten worse since Trump was sworn in and has actively begun reshaping the federal government. Defense data is out there, by the way. Quoting again, many lawmakers said these voters tend to be white, well-educated, and live in upscale suburban or urban neighborhoods. What I have seen is a demand that we get ourselves arrested intentionally or allow ourselves to be victims of violence, and a lot of times that's coming from economically very secure white people, said an 8th House Democrat. Not only would that be a gift to Donald Trump, not only would it make the job of Republicans in Congress easier if we were all mired in legal troubles, we are a group that is disproportionately people of color, women, LGBTQ people who do not fare very well in prison. The bottom line, the expectations aren't just unreal, they're dangerous, the 8th House Democrat said. Okay, so the article says, I'd love to know how many of these Democrats who are demanding a blood sacrifice from their politicians also support gun control. We haven't seen any large-scale surveys of voters on the issue since the 2024 elections, but I haven't seen any evidence that Trump's victory has spurred a large number of Democrats to rethink their position on the right to keep and bear arms, even if they believe his administration poses an existential threat to democracy. I also can't help but wonder if the Democrats Axios spoke to are downplaying the threat of violence coming from their constituents. If there's a vocal contingent of Democratic voters who are demanding lawmakers allow themselves to become victims of violence, how many of them are also advocating for committing acts of violence? As the unnamed House Democrats said, these expectations are dangerous, and not just to the Democratic brand in the midterms. From a purely political perspective, the more unhinged the Democratic base gets, the better it is for Republicans. But the mental breakdown we're seeing on the left, and to be fair, in some quarters of the right as well, could easily lead to more acts of political violence than we've already seen, and that's not good for any of us. Democrats have spent the last decade trying to portray Donald Trump as the next Hitler or Mussolini, and they only have themselves to blame for the unhinged anger and full-fledged freakout from the economically very secure white people among their base. For the rest of us, though, their bloodlust is yet another reason to exercise our right to keep and bear arms, not to wage war against our political opponents, but to protect ourselves from those who view their political opposite as an existential enemy. How about that? Any thoughts on that one? That's kind of deep.
I don't think they can be that well educated if they really think that getting shot is a good idea.
Hillbilly, anything?
Well, yeah, I mean, I agree. Some of the stuff you see that comes from that side, they're very violent people. And not all of them, I understand that, but man, there's a lot of violence on that side that you see, like in the news, or like, just like, say, for instance, the Tesla deal, or some of these protests where they're throwing bricks into the windshield of moving cars. Like, there's a lot of violence, and I think no matter how upset I am with somebody at the political party or whatever, I don't really know that, like, I would agree that that's okay, for anybody. But yeah, I think they want blood. I honestly do.
Well, that's pretty crazy. Defense Dad says that's a lot of big words. My brain hurts now. You gotta have to say all them words, man. Them's multi-syllable words, man. It's tough.
Yeah.
William Hall says it is a straight up bully tactic. Yeah, but is it going to do any good? I don't think it will. Got Firearms and Fellowship out there. William Hall says they know they are outmanned. That's true. Gerald Muir, he says, sounds like they just want to keep throwing out junk to stir up the loonies. Yeah. People be crazy out there. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Can't have crazy people, that's for sure. But you know what? What's not crazy? Let me tell you, Gear Websites is not crazy because they are your source for every Second Matters Gun Channels gear, ammo ID, and more. They have patches, stickers, and other items, and every Friday is Free Patch Friday. Well, maybe they are crazy because they're giving away patches. But anyway, Free Patch Friday every Friday if you buy cool stuff at gearwebsites.com.
GearWebsites.com is your source for firearms-based playing cards and books. We also have mugs, shirts, and posters with designs that we've made live. Of course, we have patches. Every Friday is Free Patch Friday. We appreciate your support. Thank you for shopping at GearWebsites.com.
Okay, so Abby says, curious about how much of this shit is manufactured by the government to keep us divided. And Blitz has a new puppy, evidently.
Yeah, that's awesome.
How about that?
We got 2 new puppies. They're driving me crazy.
I saw that. Yeah, they're good for you. Yeah, they'll definitely keep you on your toes.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. Not going to hang out for politics, but God bless you all. Well, suit yourself. We talk about what we talk about. But anything else, guys? Anything you want to talk about? Anything you've heard? Anything you've seen? Anything you've smelled even? No? Okay.
So I was walking past this fish market this morning, right?
Okay.
I didn't know it was a fish market at first. Apparently some people are offended on it. I went, "Oh, good morning, ladies."
The Saint is out there in the chat. Hello, the Saint. So I presume he's going to come marching in here in a minute.
People out there that are so offended right now and have no idea what Colt 45 is.
The malt liquor? Yeah.
No, the song.
No.
Oh, we should have you do that on Boomer Listens.
Abigail says, my politics are simple. I don't trust politicians and I don't trust the assholes in power, regardless of the letter by their name. That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. All right. Well, tell you what. Go ahead.
I was going to say that kind of news was just along politics too, I guess, but how our AG and stuff, Miss Bondi, said she had a list of all this stuff on her desk and all this proof and had to go through it, and then they threw out a deal Sunday evening that it's a nothing burger with Epstein.
What do you mean?
It just sounds like a big cover up.
Oh.
Yeah.
So what did they throw out Sunday?
That they have no proof that Epstein, like had anything on anybody or blackmailing anybody or, this and that and that. But she had said she had a list of his clients that he blackmailed and all that. To the somewhat effect. I mean, may not know certain words on her desk, and they were going through all this stuff. That there were people that's going to be in trouble, but they're trying to protect the innocent, and then all of a sudden they come out and they're like, nope, we got nothing. And so I thought that was just kind of a really weird, 160 all of a sudden.
A 160?
Or 180.
I was going to say, it's not quite a complete turnaround.
Yeah.
Well, they probably really don't have any evidence of who he was actually blackmailing. They just probably have the list. And then, the evidence of who he was blackmailing is all circumstantial.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, this person's name is on the list. But here's the other thing. How's it going to look when that list comes out and Trump's name's on the list? Because it is.
Well, I assumed if his name was on there, that would all got released out back when he was running for president the first time. Because all that's done through different administrations,
It's already been talked about that his name was on the list.
Huh?
It was already talked about that his name was on the list years ago.
I don't know. I just know that they said he's the only one when Epstein was convicted in Florida. Trump was the only one of the only people that like went and testified and stuff, and then he ended up getting out of that because the information they said that they released him on that is because he was protected by he was a government informant. And then now they're saying, oh, well, none of that was true or whatever. But I just thought it's odd that if he was innocent and all he had to do is wait his time in jail and he knew he was innocent and all this, and then like they said, then why did he off himself when they're, because if he was still alive in jail, he'd be released right now, I would assume, maybe.
Who said he was innocent?
They did. They like said he wasn't trafficking nobody or nothing.
Who said that?
That you just got to go look at that.
Look at what?
Deal.
No, you're the one telling the story. I'm asking you a question. Who said it?
I'm just telling you, go look at it and figure it out on your own.
No, you're the one that's telling the story. So answer the question.
I ain't doing this shit. Bye.
Alrighty. Blitz says, how about the possible collapse of the NFA because it was ruled acceptable because it was a tax? Now at 0%, it's no longer a tax. So how many years of court battles? Don't know.
How many years of court battles? Honestly, I imagine the GOA is going to take it to district court in Texas. The thing is, the DOJ would have to say, hey, we want to appeal this after losing in district court. That's if the district court sided with GOA, because GOA is the only one that I've heard that actually has things in motion to get a court case rolling right now. So, I mean, if GOA loses, then they'll just appeal it up to the Fifth Circuit. But say they win, then you got to count on the DOJ saying, hey, we disagree with you. We want to appeal this, and have them take it up to the Fifth Circuit, which then you'll have your three-judge panel. Three-judge panel will make a ruling. Then whichever way that goes, then you'll have your en banc, which all that, I'd say that could probably happen within the year.
So we
maybe two.
We have roll call out there. You remember roll call? Yeah.
No way.
He says it's a slap in the face of humanity. They lied to put cash in. Is that due? Into a position of power. First it was a black book, then it was a list, then they showed the list, and now this list doesn't exist. Wow. Good to see roll call. We got quiet real quick. Goodness sakes.
What's that?
I said we got quiet.
Who, me and you, or like the entire chat?
The entire chat did.
Oh, well, I ruined chat, so.
But you know what'll make things? You know what'll make things better?
Giving shit away.
like this.
Oh, who's the chicken that everyone loves? Gizzard Gary, who's 4'2" but stands above. Gizzard Gary, a ton of ex-wives and more to come. Gizzard Gary, he loves to give gifts to everyone. Gizzard Gary, giveaway. Gizzard Gary, giveaway. Gizzard Gary, giveaway.
Hi, folks. Gizzard Gary here. Yeah, that's right. So this is the StreamYard giveaway tool. Unless this is your first time at the show, you've probably seen it before. This is how we give stuff away. And we've got people throwing in their hashtags. I see Steve living in Southwest Virginia is out there. Roll call says first rage quit I've seen in a while. Yeah. Blitz says, oh,
You're welcome.
Wow, Gizzard Gary, seems like the 100th episode wasn't that long ago. Yeah, just last week, wasn't it? So this is the giveaway tool. The hashtag is #FT318 for the chance to win the prize package tonight. And Ozzy says barbecue is good at killing a show. Wow.
I am.
Alex Parlin says, wow, what? There's a giveaway? Yeah. You want to know what you're going to win? I'll show you. Real quick, like, 'cause everybody wants to know, what am I playing for here? What am I playing for? What was I made for? Nah, that was horrible. Anyway, how about a Gizzard Gary channel logo sticker? And to go along with that, the official Fowl Territory thumbnail sticker. How about that? How about Excess Sights sticker? They are, as we know, the fastest sights in any light. They're fast. That's fast. Abigail says a 10-gallon barrel of whiskey. Gosh, wish I had that. About a sticker from the good folks at Live Free Armory. They are, after all, true American manufacturing, makers of the Apollo 11. From DM Foss, we have the official Haterade Thirst Destroyer. And we have the Armed Papa Smurf. Abigail says, I'd chug the whole thing right about now. Bama Dad is out there. Give him a roll tide. All right. From Foss, we have the Hell No Kitty. That's serious stuff when you got a Hell No Kitty. I'll tell you. We have this sticker from Tectum. It says, shall not be infringed. And no, it's not by Night Strike. I found this. I didn't know I still had one, but I found one in my magic drawer. The Palmetto State Armory sticker, the big one. Yeah. And courtesy of Squibload, we have the Rise and Shine Mother Cluckers, all the way from Hawaii. Yeah. Good stuff. All right, patches-wise, we still have a few of the 2024 NRA Dallas patches, courtesy of Palmetto State Armory. Courtesy of Stan SS Pawn, we have this Dead Air Silencers patch. It is actually sewn. Real nice patch. And it's silent, too. It makes no noise, which is really nice. Blitz says, by the way, as a Raiders fan, I find Gary's shirt offensive. Wow. We have this patch, and it says, if I could get it to focus, what does it say? NRA Show, Texas 2024, O-Light. And it's shaped like a sheriff's badge. Yeah, how about that?
That's pretty cool.
And then we have this patch from White Label Armory. It says, live free and build rifles. That's pretty cool, too. Yeah. All right. So, in case you have friends over, I know we just had 4th of July, so your party's probably over, but you'll have more parties. And you might have people with drinks and you don't want to mar up your furniture and stuff like that. So give them one of these coasters, courtesy of EAA. This is not just one coaster or two coasters. You got the full complete set of 7 coasters, because after all, that is the perfect number of coasters to have for your gathering. I don't know who decided that, but 7 is the magic number. You're also going to get the Gizzard Gary channel logo pin. You can pin it on your hat or on your jean jacket, your shirt. Don't pin it to your cat. Cat will not like you once you do that. So I totally don't recommend that you pin it on your cat. And the winner is going to get from this company right here, Aegis Gun Care, the cleaner and lubricant combo kit, which is a full bottle of cleaner and a full bottle of lubricant. So you're going to have, if you got the brushes and all the other tools, this will give you everything you need to keep your guns clean and nice and safe. So let's go back to this. There's your giveaway tool. We got 24 entries in here. According to StreamYard, we got 33 people on YouTube and 2 on X. So evidently not everybody's very impressed with these prizes. Bama Dad says, now that is a prize.
Nah, it's my fault.
It's your fault that nobody entered? No.
Yep.
Oh, okay. We got 3 likes out there on Facebook. Very cool. We got 2 people watching on X. Very nice. Very nice. I'll give you another few seconds to enter those hashtags, and then Guns and Barbecues are going to give me the magic countdown, and we're going to go with the flow. Well, you're the only one left, so you get to do it, buddy.
Amazing.
So, all right. They've had plenty of time. Give me the countdown, sir.
13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Yeah, you guys thought I was actually going to just jump ahead, didn't you? Nope. 1, 0. Do it.
All right. So good luck, everybody. William Hall says, are you on MySpace? I can't find you. What the hell's MySpace? Living in Southwest Virginia is the winner of tonight's drawing. So, Steve, living in Southwest Virginia, are you in the chat still? If you are, send us a message out there in the YouTube chat and let us know you're here.
That name gets me every time.
There he is.
Look at that.
He's here. He
Congratulations.
is the winner chicken dinner. All right. We don't have chicken dinners anymore, but he's winner anyway. So what I need you to do, Steve, is to send me an email. Send it to winner, WINNER, at gizzardgary.com. And make sure and give me your name and your mailing address. And, of course, I will share that with Aegis Gun Care so they can send you your stuff. And anyway, congratulations to Steve, who is living in Southwest Virginia. He's got it spelled out. It doesn't say SW anymore. All right. It's making it more clear. Okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
And while Aegis is all natural, we do not recommend using the oil to deep fry your chicken.
Can you pop popcorn in it?
Yeah, sure. Why the hell not?
Oh, okay. Abigail says, I need to fix my mower so I can drive it to the liquor store.
Heck yeah, you do.
William Hall says, you aren't old enough to remember MySpace. Yes, I most certainly am. I'm old enough to remember before MySpace, before computers even, by golly. Steve says, people kept thinking I was from West Virginia. No, Southwest Virginia. That's a whole different state. Yeah, they divided West Virginia into 2. There's a South and a Northwest Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
That'll really confuse people. But I think you know better. So anyway, all right. So I guess it is time for our second favorite part of the show. Go ahead.
Sorry, your dramatic pause. I thought you were waiting for snob impression.
Go ahead. Impress me.
Show us your Gorn. Send all Gorn to Gizzard Gary. And you can do that at gorn@gizzardgary.com. Be sure to include your name if you do not want to, or your channel name if you do not want to have your actual name read out loud. If you have an embarrassing email name like Pink Panty Sipper 69 or something like that, Gary will inevitably read that because, well, it's embarrassing, and that's
That'd
what we're
be
here to
funny
do.
at that point. I'd have to read it.
Exactly.
Okay, Steve said he sent it to me, and maybe it's still getting here, but anyway, I presume you did. So we do have some Gorn out here. So we got a couple, I guess, on Instagram too, I believe. So let's look at what we got in email first. And let's take a look at this right here. This is from Blitz. He says, CCP09C, done tinkering for now. A few upgraded internals and did some polishing. It's running very slick now. DA hasn't changed much, but SA is very nice. Parts weren't needed, but wanted to make it my gun.
As a guy who once came around here, just for nostalgia, I'm going to say, ooh, look at that trigger.
It is pretty. It is pretty. Made in the Czech Republic.
Whatever happened to Pacifist?
He's still around every once in a while. I still see him. In fact, he popped into somebody. Was it Rich's chat the other day? I can't remember. Okay, so this next one is from Fluffy 10mm Jeep guy. And it is not a Jeep. He says
that's false advertising.
It is false advertising. Picked up these two used SIGs recently. Top is an SP 2022 in 9mm. The bottom is a 290 RS in 9mm. William Hall says, I want to start a site called Only Guns. There you go. It's not a half bad idea. You have to pay to see them? Sounds like you do. You have to open up an incognito tab before you do that.
Right.
Okay, so next is Ozzy Orsborn. So let's take a look at what he sent us. And he says, first pancake holster for a revolver. Ruger SP-101. So you could put a pancake and a Ruger in there? Is that what he's saying?
You know what? If that's the case, if you can get a pancake in there, he needs to put one of those magazine pouches on the side and put a couple strips of bacon and sausage. Be perfect. I really like that, though. I like how he was super slick about sliding in that every second matters patch as well.
Well, yeah. It's a good thing Steve told me he sent that email because it got caught in my spam folder. But I found it, by golly. It's there. All right. So, let me, real quick, if I can find it. Where is it? It's gone. Oh, no. I'll find it. Oh, never mind. Okay, so let me open up my Instagram. Instagrams, we call them. What in the world? Oh, my.
I'm assuming you opened mine.
So there's two different pictures here. Trying to figure out what it is I'm looking at here. Let's see.
Well,
Go ahead.
You were at Rich's chat last night.
Let me go ahead and put it on the screen. Well, if I can. Where is it? Oh, it's Chrome tab, Gary. Okay, here we go. Okay. Explain.
So on Richard's chat last night, I mentioned the Pope doing karaoke. So I got on Chat GPT and punched in, the Pope doing karaoke with a laser show. And then I was like, you know what? I wonder what it would look like if you had like the Cardinals as like a 5-piece band behind them. And
Wow.
right? Thought it turned out pretty well. And then that second one, that's actually what it came up with first. And I had to tell it, like, put on his big Pope hat. And so, put on the hat. But then I was like, actually, these kind of go well together, because then it's like he is really cutting loose and took off the hat.
Yeah, after he's had a drink or two, yeah,
right.
Goes away.
But I think we might have to pressure Foss into doing if the Pope did karaoke, what song would he sing? Bracket.
Well, he is from Chicago, so I don't know. Hopefully we didn't offend anybody out there with that.
And if we did, it's all Rich White's fault.
It is.
It took like 45 minutes of a show last night.
It is. So,
it's all his doing.
If you've got Gorn, I think it's called Gorn, you can email that to gorn@gizzardgary.com. Let's see. Justin Grimm says, are they singing Sweet Home Chicago? They could be. I think we were debating on a lot of different songs.
Running with a Devil.
Yeah. I thought Only the Good Die Young was a good one, too.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. William Hall says, the Pope drinking Malort and doing some Lincoln Park. Wow. That'd be quite popular, wouldn't it?
I see what you did there.
All right. Well, since I've got a lone panelist here, it won't take me too long to do this next segment. That's for sure. And that is, what did you learn? So I've only got one person to ask this question to. So take your time and tell me what you learned.
I learned that, I could tell you a lot of things that I learned. Oh, you just do one thing or a bunch of things?
It's up to you.
Okay, cool. I learned that to a journalist, like to use the term shooter instead of trying to effectuate change. That's in true fashion. Gun grabbers will leave quite literally no tragedy left unturned. I am awesome at ruining chats because I, cannot let anything be an echo chamber. What else? This was the first rage quit that row call seen in a long time. You're welcome. That's all I got for now. Thanks for the invite, Gary.
Hey, you bet. Thanks for being here. Do you have anything to promote, to plug, anything like that?
Much like Abigail, my lawnmower keeps breaking. Knock on wood, I just fixed it again. Seems like every time I mow, it finds a way to break. This most recent time was just the belt decided just to break in two. No rhyme or reason. The belt's only 2 years old, and I was mowing, and all of a sudden, I heard it, and I was like, "Son of a gun! That did not sound like it normally does when it pops off." So, killed the mower and just reached down, grabbed the belt, and I started pulling it. and it just kept pulling up more and more, and then eventually I got to an end, and it's like, son of a gun, I knew it. So luckily, I mean, this time it was just broken belt, but I was just like, man, every time I mow this year, it's something. But at this point, I'm hoping I've got all the bugs worked out.
Well, the moral of that story is just don't mow.
I know, but I kind of like mowing. Like I try and tell people every once in a while, an idle mind's a dangerous mind, and mowing helps keep my mind occupied. So it's a good time. Plus, then like I get to do like the Pope karaoke on my mower.
Do you wear the little hat around while you mow? That'd be cool.
Oh no, I say no. Actually, that's the one thing I hate about my cowboy hat is that I can't get good over the ear pro that doubles as headphones or anything, and earbuds just don't block out the noise the way I like. So I got to wear a ball cap.
Take that hat right off the top of your head too.
Oh, I was gonna say actually it's kind of nice because I don't see the tree branches coming normally, so it hits the hat first, and I don't get poked in the eye or anything like that, and it's great. No, normally I've got to wear a ball cap and whatnot, and ball caps annoy the shit out of me.
A cowboy hat will do a better job of keeping the ticks off of you. That's for sure. Especially if you spray it with off first. But don't recommend doing that. But anyway. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for the invite.
You betcha.
Oh, thank you for letting me say some bad words. Like I said, I get really irked by that one, and I tried not to, but I think I got like 3 F words tonight. I apologize.
It's all good. It's all good. The cause was more than sufficient, as they say. Blitz says, live close to Chicago and hate when it's half the local shot because you're living in northern Illinois, more fight juice than high-proof whiskey. Okay. Anyway, I want to thank everybody out there for watching. I also want to thank everybody out there who's been in the text and sending comments, all those who entered the giveaway and all of that stuff. And congratulations to Steve, who is living in Southwest Virginia. And that's not West Virginia, by the way. Just aware. Be aware. Anyway, so thanks to everybody out there on the alternate platforms on Facebook and on x.com. Everybody's watching in the replay. Thank you. And a special thanks to you, all my YouTube channel members, for your continued support. I certainly do appreciate it. Speaking of channel members, Wednesday night, if you come back here at 8:30 Central Time, I'm going to give away a knife. And we'll spend about an hour talking and having fun and stuff like that. So William Hall says, what about MySpace? Guess you'll have to ask Tom about MySpace. So
I thought you were giving away a spork.
Well, where do I get a spork?
Amazon. I bought a 4-pack. It's awesome. My kids love them, actually. Like, this is great.
Hold on just a minute. I have to say goodnight to somebody. Okay, I'm done. Anyway. Yeah, Anomaly Documentaries is out there, by the way. All right, just in time to say goodbye. But anyway, yes, Wednesday night, 8:30 p.m., members only chat. Only the members can get in. So if you wanted part of this action and a chance to win one of the knives I've reviewed, become a channel member. It starts out at only 99 cents a month. So anyway. So, see, what else can I tell you? I could leave you with this. If anyone tries to infringe on your right to keep and bear arms, as always, give them the bird. Justin Grimm says, K-bar spork. That makes sense.
Oh, anyway, yeah. That one too.
This is Gizzard Gary on behalf of my panel, which is Guns and Barbecue. And anyway, say goodnight, and we'll go ahead and end this stuff. You want to tell everybody goodnight?
Good night.
Good night. We'll see you next